But I'll just do a short little story to get us started. I am definitely not going to be running this program. In a second, I'm going to turn it over to Elinoy, who is named Graffiti. But my fridge at home is covered in magnets and cards and things that people send me. And one of the things that I have on my fridge is a square magnet of the Graffiti tour. Because in 2017, Elinoy was our tour guide for a trip that I took with some teenagers to Israel. And so the tour guide is one part of your life, but the Graffiti is another. And this is your touring company, graffiti tour company. And we were so fortunate to have been able to fit it into our schedule on our trip. And it was one of the most memorable experiences. I wish that we could all be there together in person, walking in the streets. And we were just talking about the gelato that she stops to share with us on the journey. But I'll let Elinoy take it away from here and tell you more about herself and what she does. And Bakasha.
Perfect. Thanks. So first of all, I'm so happy to be here and thank you for coming. And I'm going to make sure to try and keep you interested for at least the next 45 minutes. And I am not sure you know what we're going to talk about today. Do you know? So probably some of you know, or all of you. We're going to talk about graffiti today. And I actually think we're lucky that you cannot walk now in the streets of Israel, because I can literally take you all over Israel through this webinar. So good for you. You can see things that usually people won't see on a tour. So I just want to ask you, before I'm going to start sharing some photos with you and so on, I need you to be totally honest and tell me, when I tell you graffiti or like graffiti artist, what do you have in your mind? How would you imagine graffiti artist? Or let's say, what do they do at night, those kinds of people?
They paint.
Perfect. They paint at night?
They paint.
Perfect.
They
so
spray paint.
Amazing. So what do they do during the morning?
They inspect other artists' graffiti.
Perfect. So probably most of them are sleeping during the day or the morning. So how do they have money for spray cans? I'm just saying, put it in mind. We're going to get back to it at the end. But hi, everyone. My name is Elinoy, and I'm a graffiti artist. And today I'm going to share with you some personal stories about how I started and so on. I'm not going to share with you all of my pieces. Most of them are anonymous, but I will share with you some stories, and it's going to be really interesting. So we're going to spend like around-ish 45 minutes, and we're going to talk about how graffiti can raise your property in about $2 million. What makes people do graffiti? What time they do graffiti? What happened to them when they get caught by the police? What happened when the city hall is trying to take off the most famous graffiti in Tel Aviv? Why did they erase a piece of graffiti all over? It used to be all over Jerusalem, Tel Aviv, Haifa, all over, and they erased it everywhere. We're going to understand why. And at the end, I'm going to give you some times for questions. So I hope you are ready to start, and we can literally fly into Israel and start seeing like really interesting things. I might look funny on the camera soon, but I don't mind. I really want you to enjoy and see the pieces. Can you see me ish?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So just want to share that in a minute, I'm going to talk to you about how I started doing graffiti and so on. But I'll share with you that after doing graffiti, so one of the first time I did graffiti, I got caught by the police, and I spent the night in the police station. They opened a record for me, and the day after I was like, okay, what am I supposed to do tomorrow? And I realized that I really want to share with people why I did the graffiti I did. And that's how I started with my brother to do tours. It was just a joke. It was funny, but then it became a company. And today we're named Graffiti, which is graffiti, and Tiul, which is graffiti tour. And we'll talk about it after. But one of the things we do is tours in Tel Aviv to see graffiti. Now, usually first impression on graffiti, some people would be nice and say like, oh, graffiti can be very nice and artsy and so on. But if you'll have something like that outside your home, your place, I'm not sure you're gonna really like it. So as I asked at the beginning, please keep the first impression you have on graffiti in mind. And for now, I want to check your English. I'm sure it's pretty good. Let's check it. Can you please help me and tell me what it says right here behind me? So it's a bit hard to read, right? And it's in English, but yeah. It's really hard, right? Do they want you to understand what it says? Right, they don't. They don't care about you, and because they don't care about you, we don't care about them. But that's the basic of graffiti. So we're gonna understand the basic for like a minute, and then we can pass to other things. So as more cool it's going to be, as more sophisticated, then you can get more respect in graffiti, and therefore they do it so complicated. But I want to show you that your English is pretty good, okay? So can you help me read that piece here? The first letter, can you see?
B, yes.
B, perfect. And then?
B,
L.
U,
E.
perfect. Can you see the U?
Yes.
Oh, it's B-U.
Good.
Oh,
And
bull.
then S, right? And this face is also a letter,
Yeah.
the character. It's a T and an A at the end,
A.
right? So what did we get?
Bosta.
Bosta, yeah, busta, bosta. Perfect. Can you help me read it? This piece here? Right?
Like
B,
Bosta.
U,
Yeah.
S, T, A. Perfect. Now, can you tell me what it says here?
Busta.
Perfect.
Is this
So-
the same artist that did all three?
Yes, it's the same artist, and we can see evolution, how he started and how he finished, and that's gonna call like a masterpiece in graffiti. And you see, you got it. Like the thing with graffiti is to start looking and to understand. So we have at the beginning, we have the B, right, which is broken, and then the U. I know it's a bit hard to see. We have the U here right behind me, and then we have the S right here, right? Also a bit broken-ish. And then T, right?
Mhm.
And then the A. Okay, I think we got it, right? By the way, why did Busta do it on the wall? Let's say, you know what? We have Bob, and Bob looks like a nice guy, but actually he hates me. And Bob see my piece on the wall, and he comes and spray above it. What will happen? What can I do to Bob if he does it to me?
Do it back to him someplace else.
Perfect. I can cover his pieces, right? And then he can cover mine, and so and so. If that doesn't work, we can beat each other. If that doesn't work, we can kill each other, right? So actually, it's a bit funny, but he wrote his name on the wall. By the way, why don't Marcy, let's say, why don't she write Marcy on the wall and she will write Busta or like something else? What will happen if she writes her real name?
You'll know who did it.
Right, so maybe we'll know who did it, but only after spending the night at the police station, I realized that as long as they haven't saw me doing it, I can say it's not me. Even though it says Elinoy, it's not me, it's Marcy. She hates me or she loves me and she did it and she wrote my name. So I can actually write my name, but the thing in graffiti, at least it used to be, that if no one knows who you are or only a small group of people knows, you get more respect, okay? So today we're gonna see all kinds of artists in Israel that did graffiti. But last question, which I think is very important, what makes graffiti graffiti? If Renee, right? We have Renee here. Do I pronounce it right?
Rini, but that's
Rena. Okay. If she says, Elinoy, I really like you, come and paint in my room, will that be graffiti?
no.
No, right? It's going to be art in her room. If the city hall are paying me and saying, please paint something on the wall, will that be graffiti? Perfect. So it's going to be art in the street. So what makes graffiti graffiti? It has to be, I see you're speaking.
An unknown artist.
You just feel like you wanted, nobody made you do it, nobody tells you to do it, and you're on someone else's property doing it.
Perfect. So it has to be illegal. Are you ready to join me and see some illegal shit? So hopefully
Okay.
you're ready. I want to share with you a piece of graffiti that used to be all over Tel Aviv, Jerusalem, Bet Shemesh, Haifa, all over, and got erased. Now, why should people erase graffiti all over? Do you have any idea of why erasing?
They consider it a defacement of their property.
Perfect. Either defacement or either it was like very extreme message and they really don't like it. So I'm going to show you something really extreme. I hope you are ready for that. Okay. So I'm going to read it and you can join me. And we have here just a sec. We can do this maybe. We have Vayomer Hashem. I'm going to read it in Hebrew and then in English, okay? Vayomer Hashem, לא תשב אישה בקדמת האוטובוס, ותעז דפוק לה סמוכתה בפנים. ספר פרק פסוק. And God said, a woman shall not sit at the front of the bus if she'll dare spit on her face. Phrase number, chapter number, book number. Who wrote such thing? First impression.
Already.
So we would say someone Haredi, right? Like a man, a misogynist, yes. A chauvinist, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did it ever happen in Israel that a woman went on a public bus and got spat on? So we wouldn't believe, but it happened. However, I have to say, listen, if I'm going to make graffiti about what I ate today, it's going to be boring. And therefore, if people does graffiti and like social or political and so on, it has to be something very, very extreme. So what I'm telling you, it's a very extreme thing that happened, okay? It doesn't happen every day, everywhere and so on. But in 2011, there was a woman who went on a public bus and got spat on because she sat at the front of the bus. A week after, an 8-year-old walks to school and someone threw rocks on her because she wasn't modest enough. We have places in Israel, again, very, very extremist, that one side is only women, one side is only men. So we can see here behind me all kinds of news that talked about the story and so on. Why am I telling you this? Because I started doing graffiti only when like a very extreme thing happened in Israel. When I don't know if you know, but you probably know, because all of us had crisis in life, and only after crisis, something good is happening. So this actually really shocked me, and I was so upset that I actually went and sprayed it on the wall. But to be honest, when I started, I was really bad. I had no idea how to do graffiti. I got spray all over me and I wasn't sure what to do. And then I asked some friends and they helped me, and we took a stencil and we sprayed it. And I was like so happy. I was like, yeah, and so on. Because, you know, things happens, but no one really maybe might listen. But I felt with graffiti, I can actually spray it and they will not know if it's a man, if it's a woman, who did it, but it will make people think. And I was so happy. And as I'm so happy, I looked behind me and I realized there are cops, and not only one cop. There were like so many. Like, seriously, don't you have anything better to do than to catch me? Anyway, the reason I'm telling you that is because after spending the night at the police station, I realized that I had like 6 hours to think of what I did after they opened the record. And I thought, was that worthy getting caught and spending the night and having a criminal record? And it took me a few weeks or months to understand, but I realized that I'll tell you in a sec if it was worthy or not, okay? So this is another place I did it, and we can see here someone actually X'd it, right? We can see here someone added something to it. It says graffiti tours are a big fat lie and you're just a whore. So we can see people reacted to it and so on. Then my boyfriend put me a heart and said, I like you, even though they think whatever. And I must tell you that what we see here is amazing. Why is it amazing? Because this idea of someone writing something on the wall, someone commenting, someone writing, commenting, blah, 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 is so genius that someone actually made billions of dollars from this idea. And probably 95% of us are using this idea. Do you have any idea who was it that took the idea of posting on the wall?
Facebook.
Perfect. So Mark Zuckerberg took this idea of writing on the wall and made a social media and made so much money, which I hope one day I'll make as well. But after I did this piece, I realized that people are really commenting to things I did. They brought the news and so and so, and I realized that there is a lot of reaction to what I did, and I realized, for me at least, it was worthy doing it. So today I want to show you some pieces that I think are worthy talking about and that actually made a change in Israel. One more thing I want to share with you is this piece over here. We'll read it also together. We start in Hebrew. Im eshkachech Yerushalayim. And before I continue, Jerusalem, if I forget you, right? This sentence we say when we get married. It's like a very exciting moment. Usually after this sentence, we say, Jerusalem, if I forget you, and I'm going to translate it in a very Israeli way, okay? May my right hand disappear, may my tongue stick it to my mouth. Oh, if I forget you, Jerusalem will break the glass. Everyone are happy. And we are saying it because Jerusalem is such an important place in our heritage and so and so. Here it says, Jerusalem, if I forget you, it's because of Tel Aviv. Which can be very funny, but also a bit sad, because I feel like many people are forgetting today Jerusalem because of Tel Aviv, but not only, also because of Florida, Miami, New York, Berlin, and other amazing places. And some young Israelis are finding themselves outside of Israel, at least my friends. And I think it's funny, but also a bit sad. So again, this kind of phrase was left there on the wall, and we can see how Jerusalem posts and people are posting, and we can see that it's amazing what graffiti can actually make. So let's talk about what we can see in Israel today. We're gonna start with one of the most basic pieces we can see today in Israel. We see it says, Am Israel Chai, the people of Israel are alive. something pretty Zionist, right? And we can see the guy that started this piece. Now, today, do you think he's the only one who's doing it?
No.
Perfect. So graffiti can start with an idea of one person, but people can copy, can paste it everywhere. And we can also understand that some people would not agree with that sentence. So here we can see that someone actually put a question mark. Does the people of Israel alive? We have here, the people of Israel are alive, be'oni, very poorly. Here we can see something very similar, ma'ayad el hapeh. So the people of Israel are living from hand to mouth. Here it says, Am Israel chai. Voila, like, is it true? Here again, Am Israel chai beBerlin. They live in Berlin. And here we can see someone added, like took it even to a further part. We can see Herzl checking, does the people of Israel are alive? So graffiti can be funny, can be sad, can be all kinds of things. One of the graffiti artists I really like is this, but let's understand the story for a sec. What do we see here? We see Band-Aid, right? Perfect. Why should someone paint a Band-Aid?
Because
Because the
Israel
wall-
is sick.
Because the wall was wounded.
Good.
So maybe the wall is wounded, maybe he's sick, right?
Oh.
By the way, I really enjoy hearing what you're saying because, you know, let's say I'm the artist, which I'm not in this case. I did something, I meant one thing, and then I ask people and they have such an amazing, I'm like, oh my God, this is so much better than what I thought. So please share what you're thinking. So maybe he was injured, right? Maybe something happened, maybe the wall. And I met the artist and he actually told me that he was in the army. And he said, you know, in the army, Elinoy, I saw things I didn't want to see. And I had things I wanted to forget. And it's very Israeli to, when someone gets injured or something, they say, oh, don't worry, or very Jewish, right? Until the wedding, it's going to pass.
I didn't
And to put a Band-Aid on something that is injured. And he said, I felt like after the army, I need to get cure. And he said, I didn't understand what I'm doing. I just walked in the streets every night, painting those Band-Aids. And I'll tell you in a sec a very interesting story. Mars, do we want to share the, if it's going to be too complicated, we can.
You tell me which one. I'm happy to share.
No, it's all right. I want to continue, okay? I want to share with you a very interesting story. You see this Band-Aid?
Yes,
It's pretty big, right?
yes.
Dada, the artist who did this piece, he says that one day he met this lady and somehow she understood he is the artist. And she said, you will never believe what your Band-Aids did. And he was like, oh my God, did I ruin something? Did I did something? And she said, you know, my child, when he was 10 years old, he got ill in cancer. And we had to go every day to the hospital to go through chemotherapist and so you got my point. And one day they left the hospital and her child said, Mom, why am I sick when everyone are good? Why do I have to suffer? And why can't I be a normal kid like everyone else? And as they're driving outside of the hospital, they see this huge Band-Aid. And the kid asked his mom, he said, Mom, why is there a Band-Aid on the building? And she says, you know, you see, even buildings, some of them needs a cure. And she says that from that moment, he looked for the Band-Aid.
She froze.
Thinks that one of the reasons is because of those Band-Aids. So again, you can do graffiti, you can mean one thing, but then you can never know where it goes. And this artist is a very creative artist.
That's why the whole thing about that.
He saw this building right next to the sea, and it was abandoned, and he was like, oh my God, it's so ugly. Why is that here? Now, if you would see this building, what would you do if you were a graffiti artist?
Paint on it.
Paint, right? Tag your name, do something nice. But look at his criminal mind. He started painting a
Oh.
mouth.
Oh, that's funny.
Very funny, and a crazy story. He actually got caught by the police when he did it. Luckily, he was with white painting, and when the police officer got there, he asked him, what are you doing? La la la. And he was like, it's so ugly, I really want to paint it in white. So it's going to be, and the police officer said, ah, what a nice guy. And he left. And this piece was actually like that for a few years, and only a year ago it got ruined. All the building got ruined. So really interesting to see. So how long usually does graffiti last? What would you say?
A long
Long
time.
time.
Long time?
Yes.
Everyone agree with that?
You paint something.
Depends whether it's an old dilapidated building or it's a property that somebody.
Perfect. So it's depend on the building. It's depend on the color. It's depend on the message, right? If it's nice, if it's ugly. I wanna share with you that when I did graffiti in Jerusalem, after 30 minutes, it was not there anymore. So it's, again, depend on the message. I want to show you a piece I remember since I was 6, so for like 25 years at least. And we will understand what happened when the city hall tried to erase it 4 different times. Are you ready?
Ready.
Yes.
So the first time I saw this piece, I thought it's one of the ugliest things I saw in my life. And to be honest, I also hated art. I thought art, like I didn't understand those kinds of people who said like, oh, look at the colors, look at the shape. I like how it's a la la li. I couldn't understand it. I was like, what are you talking about? And at the beginning, when I saw it the first time, I was like, maybe it's a womb, maybe it's the universe, maybe it's many, many things. Maybe one of you can tell me what you see.
People.
People, perfect.
Looking in a window where there's a
Yeah, but
lady.
I don't understand the arrows.
Right, perfect. So you see the arrows, right?
Yes.
Clothing or uniforms, a light, a candle lit.
Okay, so
Okay.
luckily we can see things on a virtual screen, right? So we are going to pass it to you, Marcy, if you can, you know which video to share? And we're going to understand what we see here. And that's, by the way, we couldn't do if we were on a tour.
Oh, is that what we're seeing? No.
Was this when Rabin got shot?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it has to be. Look at that mob around him.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Okay. So yeah, that's what we see. By the way, is that a real, like, who took this video? Do you know? Do you remember?
No.
Okay, so someone, that's at least the story, they say, someone by accident took a video of the assassination from the roof, and it's one of the most historical things we have today in Israel, which we can see the assassination. So just a sec, we'll get to the point. One moment. Okay, perfect. So you can see here, you see the arrow in the middle?
He's the shooter and that's
Yeah,
Rabin.
okay.
Right, that's Yitzhak Rabin, and we can see here on the right, we can see the shooter, Yigal Amir. We can see his hand, right? And we can see the bullet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
this piece was made here, like in a very central place in Florentine. And when I met the artist, I asked him, why did you do this piece? Like, Yitzhak Rabin was assassinated, and you know what? When did he do this piece? So the artist who did this piece, he said, Elinoy, when the assassination happened, he said, I was so shocked that someone killed someone for his opinion, and someone Jewish assassinate someone for his opinion. He said, I could not believe, and I thought, I wish I could stop time at that moment, but I cannot. So at least I want to make sure we're not going to repeat the mistake. Now, when do we repeat mistakes or repeat things in life?
When?
Perfect. When we forget them, right? When we forget things, we repeat it again and again. He said, I want to make sure we won't forget. He said, I cannot affect all of Israel, but at least I can affect this neighborhood. So he did it over there. He did it a month and a half after the assassination. So I'm talking to you in December 1995. A few years after, the city all tried to erase it. A few years after, again and again. Last time they tried to erase it was in 2018, just a sec. And they came there, they started painting with this gray color. And then what happened? How come it's still there?
Painted over.
So we would say that the artist came back and painted it, but at the moment they did it, people left their houses and came to them and started yelling at them. And they said, you cannot erase it. It's a part of the history. It's a part of the neighborhood. And then they actually came and took it off with the water pressure and so on. And at that day, I realized that graffiti can actually make history. If people are asking to keep it on the wall, it means that it actually affects them. Now, in order to gain respect in graffiti, you need either to do something that is meaningful, right? Any other ideas of what do you need to do in order to gain respect?
Shock.
To shock, you said?
Shock.
Perfect. What else? So it depends who you're asking, right? But as bigger as it's going to be, as more central it's going to be, as more risk you take, as more illegal you do it, right? You got my point? Perfect.
Yes.
So I want to show you this piece here. This piece is pretty high up. It's on a pretty central street. And it was done, what time would you say it was done, this piece, by the graffiti artist?
Valentine's Day.
What did you say?
Valentine's Day? February.
Okay, perfect. During the night, during the day.
Oh.
That could have been done during the day.
Okay, so we would at the beginning probably think during the night, but it's actually the
No.
worst time because there are so many cops outside in the night.
During the
So we
day.
did it
That was
actually
during the
during
day
the
because
day?
it's sweet.
Perfect.
It's sweet.
Right. So this one is sweet. He did other things we'll see in a sec. And then how did he get so high? Do you have any idea?
A ladder?
Rope from the top.
So a ladder maybe from the top, right? So we're gonna understand that in a sec, but I wanna talk about what he did for a sec to understand why does someone take the risk of doing something illegal on a building
For his
like
lady,
that.
for his lady love.
Okay, perfect. So some romantic will be perfect for us for today, right? So we can see maybe an elf, right? Or maybe a Peter Pan, right? Holding heart balloon. Can you help me and tell me what does he have in his other hand? Can you see?
I didn't know. Paintbrushes.
Paintbrushes, perfect. And a spray can.
Oh,
right?
Okay.
And is flying, right?
yes,
Flying towards what? Can you see?
the window where she lives.
I like what you're saying. So maybe to the window. Yeah, amazing. And here we can see maybe the brushes. And I don't know if you can see here at the top, there's another pair of legs,
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
right?
Finger
What's
gun.
the difference between of the legs at the top and the legs at the bottom? It's maybe a bit hard to see.
Together and a heart. Together.
Maybe small
apart.
and big, perfect. And if you look carefully, you see that the legs at the bottom, it doesn't have shoes, right? And the top, it seems maybe like shoes, maybe. So I want to stop for a sec and tell you that the artist, I don't know if you can see here on the corner, like on the artist name Kisslove, and the first time I saw it, I was like, wow, really cool, very romantic. Who is he following? Maybe his girlfriend, and so and so and so. Maybe Tinkerbell. But then I saw a piece of another artist here.
Oh,
Now,
Eric, we didn't see that.
no, that's another.
does maybe one of you knows what's the name of the artist?
No.
Okay, so this artist, if you Google the most famous graffiti artist in the world, you will get this artist, which is named Banksy. Is so famous, Banksy, that if this would be on your house, you can tear off the wall and sell the wall for at least $2 million. And I'm not just making it up. It was actually done already twice. I don't know if you heard, there was an auction that someone sold a small painting of Banksy, and when it got sold for $1.4 million, do you know what happened
Oh
to
my
the painting?
Price went up. Oh, what, that painting? No.
All the graffiti artists,
Marcy, do we
Benefited.
want to show it?
all the graffiti artists benefited.
So let's see for a sec what happened when someone bought in an auction a painting of
Oh,
Banksy.
I saw that. Oh, right, it destroyed itself. It went down and there was.
Right. Now this artist, you can keep it on working, Marcy. He's so genius. Don't stop it. Yeah, perfect. He's so genius that no one knows how he did it, but then he's so genius that he shared a video of how he did it, so we can see the back story of how he knew that it's going to happen, or he wanted to make a joke. By the way, that's his Instagram. So he says that a few years before he put it like a shredded machine in the painting, he knew it's going to happen, and so on. I think he's so genius that he planned everything in advance. And here we can see the moment of the auction. Boom, for $1.4 million up. And as someone bought it, it got shredded. Now,
Did he have to pay for it still? The buyer, did he still have to pay
so
the money?
good question. What do you think?
I'm hoping.
Yes,
Perfect. Marcy, can you stop it? So not only he needed to pay for it, don't worry for him.
Oh,
He did not go bankrupt, because after it got shredded, what happened to the
It was
piece?
worth
Like
more.
in the value?
went up.
It went up in value. 'cause he was
Perfect. It went
clever.
even higher. So don't worry for him. I'm telling you, Banksy is such a crazy
I've heard of it.
artist. And by the way, no one knows who he is. And I think he's pretty insane. But he
Rich.
maybe insane
But
rich,
No
maybe
one knows who he is. He didn't get the money. Someone else got the money.
So it's a really good question. No one knows because no one knows who Banksy is. So Banksy would say he didn't get the money, blah, blah. That's why he shredded it. I say
Hello?
Banksy planned everything and he's a billionaire.
I'm watching
So
something.
that's about that. So I just want to share with you, when I saw this piece of Banksy, at the beginning, I looked at this piece and I said, he's a copycat, right? The artist who did this. But the artist says, Elinoy, I wish I was Banksy. It's a gesture to Banksy. It's a homage. Can you help me tell me where is the homage, or who is he following after?
Who is the one?
Who was it homage to? But I didn't get the last part.
I'm asking, who did he follow after? He said it's a homage to Banksy. Can you see where the homage is?
Where?
So I don't know if you can see above, you see the other legs?
Yes.
Oh, is he?
That's the legs of the girls with the balloons.
Oh.
And he says, I wish I was Banksy. I wish I would get to his level. And by the way, the artist Kisslove says, I did the graffiti, I did this piece because when I was a child, I didn't go to galleries and so on. And I want to make sure that people can enjoy art even if it's not in galleries. And he did another interesting piece. Do you recognize maybe this character?
No.
If you Google Israel, that's what you're gonna get. That's like the Israeli pioneer and so on. And do you recognize this character?
No.
But what can we say about this character?
He's thinking very hard.
Right. So we can see that he's barefoot, his clothes are ruined and so on. If you Google boycott Israel, that's what you're going to get. That's
Boycott
a character
Israel.
that represents a Palestinian view of the conflict. And what the artist did, Kisslove, he decided to take both of them together and to put them on a piece together, hugging, maybe looking at the future. Maybe some people would say putting their heads in the wall. And I promise to tell you what happened to him when he got caught by the police.
Mm,
So
you can't paint on
before
other people's
understanding
buildings.
the police, I wonder, you said about how he got so high. So an option is a roof, a ladder, rappelling, but actually he needed to be pretty stable. So do you have an idea of like a very comfortable way to get up, like very fancy?
A hot air balloon.
So he
Fire truck lift or something like that?
So he actually had a lift taking him up. He did it during the day and he got caught by the police. Now, if you are on a lift and you get caught by the police, what can you do?
Go up and run.
So if you go up or if you run, they can take the lift and the lift is very expensive. It's going to be a problem. Now, he planned everything ahead. You know, if you're a criminal, you should plan. And he did. If you look at what he's wearing, it looks like he was paid to do it. And on the lift, he put a big sign that says subsidized by the city hall. And he had like a jacket of the city hall worker and a hat of the city hall. And when the police got there, it sounds pretty cute and cool, but they did not buy his story. And they started yelling at him and so and so. And he said, Elinoy, if you are lying, do it all the way, fake it till you make it. And he said, you have your problem if you don't know it, and so and so. And he tried to finish it as fast as he can. And he was pretty lucky. He wasn't arrested at the end, but I think he was lucky. Let's put it this way. Marcy, I just wonder how long do we have? Because okay. So I just want to show you a few more pieces and then we're gonna sum up. I want to talk about why does people do graffiti. So I'm going to choose a few pieces I really like. If you don't mind, I'm going to pass some of them. And
Herzl?
I want to show you a piece of an artist, which at the beginning when he started, I didn't really understand what he's doing, but then I realized that it's a very unique way. Okay, so this piece, first of all, how was it done? Any ideas? Was it painted on the wall or?
Photograph?
It looks like it was pasted on the wall.
It looks
It
too
looks
good,
like-
right?
AD, yeah.
No, it's not on the wall.
So it looks too good, and the artist actually printed it and pasted it to the wall. Is that graffiti?
Could be.
Technically.
Okay, so
I don't think so.
I think it depends who you are asking. If you would ask the police officer, yes, it's graffiti, because as long as he did something with no permission, it's definitely graffiti. But the artist actually says that he doesn't care. He said, I have something in mind I want to share, and I'm going to share it. And that's about that. And he did actually very interesting things. So I want to share with you some of it. The first one is this piece of the girl, right? She's hugging, instead of a bear, right? She's hugging her phone.
Tablet.
And this is an Israeli artist. If you can see, by the way, on the above the phone, it says #thug. And that's how he started, by like talking about bullying and so on. And then he changed it. We'll see it in a sec. Here we can see another piece he did. He took a piece, a painting that was really old, and he put something very new inside. So instead of a body of someone that got killed, we have the iPhone, right? And it says beneath it, disaster. Here we can see that's the same artist which we saw at the beginning with Herzl, right? With the Am Yisrael Chai, the people of Israel are alive. Now we can start seeing things that are not very comfortable to see. Here we can see an old lady holding something. It says, in a great grief, I'm selling my diary for food and medicines. And it says on the book, Anna Frank.
Right.
So he took the idea of Anna Frank and like said, people who got, who survived the Holocaust are in bad condition that they need to sell everything they have in order to have food and so on. Here we can see another piece that talks about that. Here we can see a soldier that instead of throwing a bomb is throwing like a game, right? We can see that someone did not like it, right? And they took it off the wall, and then the artist did it again. Next to it, he said, you don't like it, I will put it once again in your face. And that's not the only time it happened to him. Here we can see Benjamin Netanyahu, right? The famous one. And he's like giving up newspaper. And he's like, it says on the newspaper that Benjamin Netanyahu says there's no bribe, there's nothing. And he made a joke out of that he's controlling our news. Here also it says, look here, please, because nothing happened. There's nothing. And we can see from, do you recognize the machine he's holding in his hand? Yeah, from Men in Black, that erase your memory. Here we can see his wife, right? Saying stop being poor. We can understand that people did not like it and they cover it, and then he did it again. So you can see one that got covered, one next to it again. So this guy really don't care about what people think. Here we can see a I think you got the point, right? And that's the artist, Ruben. And to be honest with you, I think he's going to be very, very famous. He's working very hard and he has a lot of ideas in his mind. I think that it's really interesting to see where he takes his messages. Now, I want to show you one more thing that one more personal story, and then we will leave some time for questions. Just a sec. No? I don't know if I choose the right one. Just a sec. Okay, anyone has questions? Meanwhile, I put the... Any questions? Thoughts? Ideas?
Are you still painting? Are you still into the street art or strictly with the touring?
So it's a really good question. I will not do graffiti if I don't have anything good in mind to say or to put. And therefore, today only when I have a good idea, I'm going to go to the street and make something outside. So I would say it really depends if I have a good idea, and many of my good ideas are coming from people who's sharing with me their ideas, because I realized that only when I share with people my ideas, they help me to get like even better, and when we share together, it's much better. Okay. Any other question? Did that answer you, Bob? Okay, just a moment. I want to share with you one more story, and okay. So I want to share with you that when I started doing graffiti, at the beginning, I thought all sorts of things, but then only after I started doing graffiti, I started seeing things I never saw before, like all kinds of things like that. Here we can see Muhammad is dead, or Arabs, you should die. Or here we can see Arabs die one day and Jews, you are kings. Here we can see things against Ethiopians and so on. And I realized that it's there are many things I didn't see before I started doing graffiti. And I realized that I was really blind before, and that I want to remind myself to start seeing more. And then I started painting eyes in many places in Israel. I started going to roofs and to paint from the roof. Do you have any idea how I did it from the roof?
Hope you didn't bend over.
Right. So rappelling is too complicated. We call it heaven spot. First of all, because you feel like you're in heaven. Second of all, you get a lot of respect for doing something like that. And probably the most important reason is because when you do it, usually one is going down, the other one is holding the legs, and you might get to heaven. And I started doing those eyes, and it was really scary. Don't try it at home. If you do try it, don't eat hummus before you do it. And what was really cool is, first of all, it reminded me to open my eyes, and it also was a good reminder for other people, and also some people took it to other places, the eyes and so on. So I want to graffiti artists, what do they do during the night? What do they do during the day? How do they have money for spray paint. Can you hear me?
Yes.
And hopefully today you saw at least one piece that was interesting. And I hope it made you, if you didn't see before graffiti or you didn't go on a tour, I hope it made you a little bit more curious. And what I really wish is that you will finish this talk, you'll drive tomorrow and you're going to start seeing things you didn't see before. It's good, like if you'll see at least one new thing, it's going to be amazing. And I want to share with you that when I started doing graffiti, I thought I know everything, I'm so smart, la la la. But then I realized when I started doing those tours that there's so many things I didn't see. So that's why I really like doing those tours. And it's funny because many times when I start the tour, I ask people, what do they think of graffiti artist and what do they think of myself? And many people said you will never succeed, Elinoy, if you do graffiti, if you do those kinds of stuff. And I want to share with you that actually, as Marcy told you at the beginning, I opened a company and I helped many young graffiti artists, many young people to take part and to start sharing their story. And today we are a group of about 15 guides and artists in Tel Aviv. We have people in Jerusalem. We have actually people in Athens and in Paris. And my idea is to share the story. Now, it doesn't have to be graffiti story. I want people to share their stories and to get ideas from other people. So today we do it not only with graffiti, but graffiti is one of the best parts. And I wanted to finish with a piece I really like. It is not in Israel. I wish it was in Israel, but I think it doesn't matter because it passed the message. And this piece was made actually at the beginning of the Corona. And I want to wish that we will find a way to impact other people. If it's through the graffiti, if it's through what you guys are doing through taking a part in the community, if it's through helping someone or whatever. But I wish that we will find a way to pass a message and to feel meaningful in life. That's it.
Thank you.
So I want to thank you for coming today and to ask you if anyone has other questions that you want to ask or comments, ideas.
Do you get paid for your graffiti at all?
So great question. I think I'm going to stop that. I do not get paid for my graffiti, and 95% of the time I also don't sign. If I do sign, it's not my real name. So it's really funny. Many of my friends don't know the pieces I did and so on. Usually they're going to be political or social or usually.
And do you have?
Let's say,
Go ahead.
sorry, just one more thing, Karen. I want to say that usually I don't share with people I did the pieces. When you come on a tour, you don't know it's me. But because you took the time and I wanted you to fly into Israel, so I shared with you some personal stories. I think it's the best way. But most of the people don't know which pieces I did and so on. Karen, you said something?
Oh, I didn't know. Do you paint for galleries or do you sell paintings at all? None of your paintings? No. What do you do for a living? I wasn't in the beginning. I don't know if they said it.
So today I have a company named Graffiti, and we do tours and workshop of graffiti and tours of food tours in Tel Aviv and share some personal stories.
Oh, good luck to you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
This was wonderful. Really
Thank you so much, Elinoy.
Sure, thank you.
Thank you for
It was
being
a pleasure.
and sharing.
Thank you for inviting me.
Awesome, Ellen.
And by the way, if you see some interesting things, wherever you are, interesting graffiti, or if you have like interesting ideas of graffiti pieces, let me know. I would love it. it's amazing to experiences and ideas and so on.
Very good.
Feel free to send them to me. I'll happily pass them along.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for coming. Thank you, Elinoy.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Marcy, for putting this together.
Yeah,
fun.
definitely. Thank you,
It
Marcy.
was a lot of fun. Take
Illinois is
care.
great.
Okay, good night. No, that was Renee.
Oh,